Oh, need to check my oxygen levels. Oops, I have to inform my doctor. Oh, he's a doctor. Dispatched. Family members, take care, take care. Rest in peace. Arre. Deleted. My god. Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here, and I welcome you all to another IPO video review of New Reka Limited. Now, if you just got confused that what actually happened in the first part of the video, when I checked my oxygen level, how come my doctor came to know about it? How come my relatives came to know about it? If you want to know the answers of all these questions, just check out the video till the end. So as usual, let's start by understanding what does the company do, what is the actual product profile of the company, right? So first, let's understand that the company is into digital healthcare and well-being. But what does that mean? What is digital healthcare? What is well-being? So for that, let's understand their product portfolio one by one. So first, they're into chronic device products. What is chronic device? What is chronic basically? So when I tried to search the meaning of chronic, I found it on the website that a chronic disease is one which lasts for 3 months or more. And this definition is by the United States Nation Center for Health Statistics. So these kind of chronic diseases, they could either limit your day-to-day activities, or they could be such that require ongoing medical attention, or it could be both. Okay, simple examples of chronic diseases could be BP, could be diabetes, could be blood pressure. All these come under chronic diseases. So what does this company do? This company sells devices like BP monitors, pulse oximeters, thermometers. I'm sure digital thermometers, for everyone knows it has become a part and parcel of life of our lives these days, right? Next one, what they sell is orthopedic products. Orthopedic products, I'm sure everyone knows, relates to our bones. So wheelchairs, walkers, lumbar support, all these are sold by the same company. Third, it is also into mother and child products. So they sell breast pumps, bottle sterilizers, bottle warmers, car seats, baby carry cots. All these again are sold by the company. They're also into nutrition supplements. So nutrition supplements like multivitamin, probiotics, and fish oil, and all these, they are again sold by the company. Also sell lifestyle products which include smart scales, they include aroma diffusers, also include fitness trackers. Sorry, this is Apple Watch, but they also sell fitness trackers. So these are the key products of the company. Let me also quickly tell you which brands are they placed under. So chronic devices are sold under the brand of Dr. Trust. The orthopedic devices are sold under the brand of Dr. Physio, and mother and child care are sold under the brand of True Mom. But in India, the main website through which all these products are sold is drtrust.in, and the brand ambassador is Rohit Sharma. Well, now that you have understood the main business profile of the company, let me tell you quick fun facts about the company. That Nureka Limited is the India's first digital healthcare and wellness company to sell its products through its website and a network of online partners. 95% of their total revenue comes by selling their products online. So can you understand how much opportunity they have while they want, if they start selling their products in the offline markets? So does this mean that they have not even tapped this opportunity till date? Answer is no. They've already tied up with Chroma, which is a Tata Group company, to sell their products across the country through their stores. Right. Now that you have understood what types of products the company sells, like orthopedic, mom and care, lifestyle, all that we know. Second, we also have understood that majority of their sale is driven by sale through online platforms. Now, third question I'm sure which pops up in your mind is that they're selling, agreed, but do they manufacture and sell, or they are just trading in the goods? So the answer for that is that they manufacture it. But do they manufacture it themselves? No. The major production process is outsourced. They either outsource it to Indian companies or to foreign companies. Then what control does the company have over the production process? So for that, what they do is they would hire a person who would supervise this entire manufacturing process. So these people will be stationed near the production units. Either it will be their employees who are doing it, or they can even outsource this entire supervision process to another entity. Well, more on this, who to whom is it outsourced, what is happening in this case, More on that we are going to talk about in the coming parts of the video. Some interesting facts coming up, so stay tuned. Moving on, so I was talking about the point that major production processes outsourced. Okay, what is the biggest advantage of this? Biggest advantage is that they can increase the production capacities without having a lot of capital expenditure, right? But what is the biggest drawback of this? Biggest drawback is that they have no control over costs, because everything is being manufactured outside, so no control over costs. Now let us understand, are they at least making an attempt to manufacture themselves? So what they are currently doing, they are trying to do this on their own, wherein they bring products in the semi knocked down condition. So basically it's more of assembly. So you can imagine, tire is purchased, wheel is purchased, the car doors are purchased, they just assemble. Company doesn't manufacture a car. This is just an example. Okay, that is how semi knockdown product is finally assembled. That's what the company does. Okay, so they have recently set up a unit in Chandigarh in July 28 2020, not even a year ago. Currently the installed capacity is 200 units per day, with the capacity utilization at just 20%. Well, if you want to increase your chances of getting an IPO allotment, then I have told you many times, have more and more accounts within your family members. If you have one, try to open one in the name of your parents or your spouse or your siblings, whatever. If you want to open an account with Zerodha, link is there in the description box. Well, let's try to do a quick economy analysis about how the entire global outlook is looking right now. The global economy is expected or is projected to grow at 5.5%, mainly because of the policy support and the vaccine approvals. If I talk only about Asia or the emerging developing economies, the projection is at 8.3%. But if I talk only about Indian economic growth projections, then India is expected to grow at 11.5% in 2021. So I think all these are positive points that we can see. And if you look at this chart, I think अब भारत का बच्चा बच्चा जानता है कि what is the V-shaped recovery, and that is what globally, emerging markets and India, all of these three are checking out right now. So let's start with the industry analysis. That's how the health expenditure per capita in US dollars looks like. We are comparing India with majority of its neighboring countries. It's very disheartening to read that India's per capita health expenditure is just 78.8 US dollars versus Bhutan, who is also ahead of us. Sri Lanka is ahead of us. Maldives is like way ahead of us. Anyways, but at least in as per our budget, the budgetary allocation for health expenditure has gone up from 63,425 crores to 74,602 crores. So if the budget allocation for health expenditure goes up, obviously our per capita expenditure in the coming years will ideally go up. Then the next big question is, how good is the e-commerce adoption at the industry level? Okay, why are we talking about this point? Because if you remember, I told you that companies' major revenues, 95% of the revenues come from online sales. So we have to understand that in this industry, how comfortable are people buying the products online? Okay, so now if I talk about booking tickets online, I'm sure people like you and me are very comfortable. If it is about booking Ola or Uber online, we are very comfortable. If it is about enrolling for my online courses, we are super comfortable, right? But if we talk about buying something like an oximeter or something like some orthopedic product like a wheelchair or whatever, buying them online, it gives us a little bit of question mark doubt that whether this will be good or not. We are not sure about that. So let's understand how the stats go currently. If I'm talking about buying chronic disease products, then 76% of them are bought through hospitals or pharmacies. Just 23% comes from digital sales. Very similar case is with orthopedic, mother and child products, as well as nutritional supplements and total health market. It's only for lifestyle products where the divide is a little bit favorable in case of digital sales, so which is not 25%, it's almost 37%. So I hope you have understood how comfortable people are as far as buying these products online. So let's move on with the drivers and constraints of the industries. Drivers of the industries are the positive points, constraints are the negative points, right? So the very first driver is that our geriatric population, that is people above 60 years, they're expected to cross 12.5% of the total population. So these people would be more comfortable if they have sugar monitors, BP monitors at home, right? So it's a positive point for the industry. Number two, the deaths that have happened in India because of cancer, diabetes, or other chronic diseases has gone up from 37.9% in 1990 to 61.8% in 2016. One more positive driver for the industry is that because of the COVID-19 pandemic, people prefer to do some basic tests at home rather than every time being admitted at the hospital. So if people have more and more awareness, overall awareness, I think it's going to be a positive point for the industry. If I talk about the negative points, the constraints, the very first one is the unorganized market. So basically, a company like this company is not going to compete with other listed companies. It is going to have to compete with more of the unorganized players in the market. Second one is accuracy of the results. So there are two grades. One is known as a hospital grade, one is known as a consumer grade. So whenever I do a BP monitoring at home, we generally have something known as a consumer grade. So the accuracy might not be as high as the hospital grade. So results may differ a little bit. And the third one is the personal touch with doctors is missing in this case. Many a times you might have even observed this at home. The typical Ajji Azobas, senior citizens at home, they feel amazing the moment they uh, just even step inside the doctor's clinic. They'll feel that, ha, ata mala bara vatte. They'll have that feel good factor, right? So that personal touch is lacking if you are buying all these products online. Well, there is something a little bit different about this company because whatever IPOs have covered till date, it had a history like this company started way back in something, and then happened. But this company was formed just in 2016, November 2nd, and it got converted into a public limited company just on July 8th, 2020. So it's comparatively a new company. Who are their shareholders? Their major shareholders are Mr. Saurabh Goyal, who holds 46.67%. The promoter group major name is Payal Goyal, who holds 46.67%. So in totality, the total promoter group holding is 93.33%. Well, let's move on with the financial analysis. Let's talk about revenue growth, profit growth, and many more parameters. Well, the revenue has grown from 994 millions for the year ended March 20 to 1221 millions in just first 6 months. Daya, kuch to gadbad hai. What has happened? We are going to check that out. Wait. Second one, if we see that even if I talk about the profit after tax, their profit after tax for the entire year ended 20 was just 63 millions. And for the half year ended September 20, it is 361 millions. I mean, how on earth has this happened? People, you should know the reason why this has happened. Remember that we talked about what are their main products, and few of their major products included what? Oximeter, that thermometer thermometer, whatever that, you understood, whatever, digital thermometer and all that, right? Infrared thermometer. So all these were the key products of this company, and this has seen a sharp rise during COVID-19, right? So the plus point is that they were able to bank on this entire pandemic very nicely. But on the flip side, I personally feel that whatever super normal growth that they saw in these 6 months, it might not sustain in the coming years. That is what I personally feel, right? Do let me know your thought process also in the comment section. So sales, if I talk about the CAGR at which sales has grown, that is 123% over the last years from 2018 to 2020. But if I talk about PAT has grown at a CAGR of only 43%. Now, if you even check the CAGR of expenditure, that is 140%. So revenue grew at 123% CAGR. Expenses grew at 140% CAGR. So what is that in expenses that is growing very fast? So expenditure in that, advertisement has increased quite a bit. Legal and professional fees that have increased by 755.67%. That is mainly to secure and defend their intellectual properties. There's one more very interesting expenditure, which is a business support service expenditure, but that we are going to cover in the immediate next part of the video. So picture abhi baki hai mere dost. Second one, we'll move on with financial analysis of balance sheet. Not much to discuss here. If you check out, their reserves are continuously increasing. Reserves are increasing only because of increasing in profits. Even if you check out the borrowings for March 20 versus September 20, it has dropped down, almost halved. So it's a clear sign that they are doing a good amount of debt repayment. If I move on with key ratios, their current ratio has been above 1 for the last 3 years. Even their debt to equity ratio is also very much at a comfortable position. ROE, ROCE both have seen that V-shaped recovery, obviously because of whatever happened in the first 6 months of 2020. If you check out their cash flow from operations, again, same old story repeats. Check this out. For March 20 year end, it's minus 79, and for September 20, it is 562 positive. So, how on earth did this happen? Same reason. First 6 months, Corona. That is only blessing that this company had, I guess. Second one is about investing activities. Huge investment outflow. You can easily see here. Minus 444 is they're investing more. Where are they investing? Property, plant, equipment. Remember that Chandigarh factory? We talked about that. And one more point is cash flow from financing activities. That is also in minus. What does that mean? They are doing a borrowing. I'm sorry, they're doing a repayment of their borrowing. That is the reason why it is in negative. Super important point coming up. And what is that? It's about the business support services that I talked about just like a minute or two ago. Now, there's an amazing piece of information. Just read this out, that Nectar Biopharma Private Limited has been appointed as an agent by this company. Now, what is the responsibility of this agent? By the way, this appointment is done with effect from 23rd May 2020. What is the responsibility of this agent? Agent's responsibility is to procure goods, to ensure that whatever business is going on, it's properly done, to give business support services, and to ensure that the sale of goods is being done properly. Okay. What does the agent receive in return? The agent receives commission and agent receives service fee for that. Now, the big question is, how much are they receiving as a commission and business fee? Check this out. Commission they are receiving is 18.68% for the half year ended I'm talking about, and business support services is 115.28 million rupees. Now you will say, why Rachna is overacting? Wait. It's a huge amount. How? Let's understand. Totality of these two will be 133.96 million, and this amount is equal to 55.85% of the other expenses. It's a huge allocation. If I talk about the total expenses of P&L, still these two, commission paid and business support services, that those two account for 18% of the total expenses in the P&L. Now you might be wondering, who is this Nectar Biopharma Private Limited? Why are they getting so handsomely paid? That is a related party. Okay, so now you might be wondering, it's a related party. Does this mean there is a fraud? There is no fraud. Always understand that it is company's responsibility to disclose in their financial statements that whether these transactions are happening at an arm's length price. Arm's length price is nothing but fair market value. Okay, there's a separate accounting standard 18 for that, wherein company's responsibility is established. There is a standard on auditing, SA number 550. Oh my god, hashtag being a CA, right? So there's an SA 550 which says that it is the auditor's responsibility to ensure that they have given all these disclosures properly or not. It is your responsibility to read all these financial statements properly. It is your responsibility to check out my videos and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Okay, too much. But anyways, coming back to the point, I hope you have understood this, that how the related party transactions also happen, how it is important to read these kind of annexures. You can see the heading also, it's a related party, it's a list of related party transactions. Okay, these you find in the prospectus. One more point I would also like to highlight, it's not like terrific, but would just like to highlight that even the salary to key managerial personnel and their relatives, Payal Goyal and Smita Goyal, it was like 1.20 million for the entire year for the year ended March 19. For the year ended March 20, it has gone up to 3 million. So, and again it has come down to 1.18 and 0.44. So it's not growing steadily, nicely. We can see a lots of ups and downs in this. So I just wanted to highlight these amazing points to you. I hope you have enjoyed this short section as well. Well, let's understand about their future plans. Their future plan is to diversify and reach out to new geographies. They are also wanting to increase their online presence as well as their offline presence. And the third one I found out very interesting as their future plan, which is about product innovation and new product launches. I'm reading out this point for you. They are planning to introduce apps such as Dr. Trust Scale Connect app and Dr. Trust BP Connect app, which is going to enable the users to monitor and share their healthcare data with doctors, with nutritionists, with family members. Now I hope you can reconnect and we can join the dots. What happened in the first part of the video and this app. Well, these are the IPO details for you. IPO opens on 15th of February, closes on 17th of February. The market lot is 35 shares. The minimum application amount would be 14,000 with a maximum of 1,96,000 for a retail individual investor. One interesting point about this IPO is it's a complete fresh issue. No offer for sale. So basically, promoters are not selling off their shares and going out of the company. They are very much there, and whatever proceeds the company will get, They will not a single rupee will go to the promoters. Entire money will go to the company, and they are planning to use it for working capital requirement and for general corporate purpose. Well, if I move ahead with the valuation, the company does not have any listed peers, so I can't compare this company's PE with some other competitors' PE. So only one comparison I can do. I know it's not a very fair comparison. I agree with that. That's the only comparison that I have. Company's PE is at 48.3 at the upper band of the IPO price, and the Nifty PE is at 41.8. So I can say as compared to the Nifty PE, also the company is slightly overvalued. Homework alert for you. I want you all to tell me whether any litigation is going against the promoters, directors, or against the company. And I'm going to discuss this with you on 17th of February at 11 a.m. That's when I'm going to discuss more about the litigations with you. And also, I'm going to tell you whether I'm going to apply for this IPO or not. By the way, if you want to know about the litigations of the company, you have two choices. Number one, check out their RHP, or number two, that's my website, rachnaranade.com. And in the blog section, I've already discussed about the litigations against the company. So see you all on 17th at 11 a.m. on our YouTube channel. Till then, take care, Jai Hind, and bye-bye.